Hi friends, Pastor Matt here. I'm here today with your Cornerstone Connection, a daily devotional. And if you're new with us, we are trucking through, maybe is a better way of putting it, the New Testament this year at Cornerstone. We're in a Bible reading plan that you can find through the YouVersion Bible app. It's put on by the Bible Project. Or you can just go to cornerstonemarshfield.com. You can click the Bible reading plan icon, and you can jump right in. We're in day 75 here today. And we've already gone through the Gospel of Matthew. We're currently in the Gospel of Mark. And today we're in chapter 15, verses 1 through 20. And unlike many times, I just want to read this section of text to you. And then let's just pull out one thing from it. So join me there if you have a Bible with you. Chapter 15, verses 1 to 20. And it's kind of interesting. We're about a month out from Easter, friends, which is exciting. And in Mark here, we're getting into this Easter weekend text, okay? And this is the sad part. This is getting to the Good Friday part. Here we go, chapter 15, verses 1 and 20. Very early in the morning, the chief priests with the elders, the teachers of the law, and the whole Sanhedrin reached a decision. They bound Jesus, led him away, and handed him over to Pilate. "Are you the king of the Jews?" asked Pilate. "Yes, it is as you say," Jesus replied. The chief priests accused him of many things. So again, Pilate asked him, "Aren't you going to answer? See how many things they are accusing you of." But Jesus still made no reply, and Pilate was amazed. Now it was the custom at the feast to release a prisoner whom the people requested. A man called Barabbas was in prison with the insurrectionists who had committed murder in the uprising. The crowd came up and asked Pilate to do for them what he usually did. "Do you want me to release to you the king of the Jews?" asked Pilate, knowing it was out of envy that the chief priests had handed Jesus over to him. But the chief priests stirred up the crowd to have Pilate release Barabbas instead. "What shall I do then with the one you call the king of the Jews?" Pilate asked them. "Crucify him," they shouted. "Why, what crime has he committed?" asked Pilate. But they shouted all the louder, no reason given. "Crucify him." Wanting to satisfy the crowd, Pilate released Barabbas to them. He had Jesus flogged and handed him over to be crucified. We're going to pause there for today in the text, because when I read this text, I just can never get over the last verse I read, verse 15. Wanting to satisfy the crowd, Pilate released Barabbas to them. He had Jesus flogged and handed him over to be crucified. When I read that, it is a text, a verse that right away poses a question to me. And the question is this: who am I trying to please? Who am I trying to please? Verse 15 says that Pilate wanted to satisfy the crowd. He had the Christ in front of him, the one who would go to the cross for his sins, the one that would go and pay the way for the debt that Pilate had accrued due to his own human nature, his own flesh, his own sin. Yet he didn't want to satisfy the God who originally made him, the God who put him in the position of authority that he had. Instead, he wanted to satisfy the crowds. And it's so easy when we read these Easter texts and to point the finger at Pilate, to point the finger at the soldiers and at Judas and at the other disciples for fleeing from Jesus, and to go, I just can't believe they did that. And yet at the same time, I've settled that most likely 99.9% chance that if it was me and in any of their shoes, I've done the exact same thing. And I think a big reason I would have is because by nature, friends, I've shared this probably with many of you before, or I know for sure our students, I'm by nature a people pleaser. And this has gotten me in trouble personally in the past, because I try to please people, and sometimes it's for my own demise. I get worn out, I get burnt out, and I no longer do it out of joy. I no longer do it for the right reasons. I don't do things for God's glory and for the good of other people, but it's really becomes a selfish thing where I'm doing things in order to satisfy the crowds, where I'm looking to please other people. And so I just want to leave you with that kind of question today. And let's just be honest, whatever's in front of us today, whatever tasks we're given or whatever opportunities God gives us, let's keep that question in front of us. Who are you trying to please? Who is it that you are seeking to satisfy? Is it the God who deserves all the glory from his creation? Or is it you? Is it me, who often wants glory for himself? Let's keep that question in front of us as we live this life, and let's just ask God to help us to satisfy and to please him. Friends, have a great day. We'll see you next time on the Cornerstone Connection.